Hello, Stampers. It's Monday night at 6 o'clock. So, you know what that means? It's Facebook Live with me and the Stampmaven. I made it home from work after 9.5 hours of work, and now my fun gets to start being with y'all. I hope you've all had a great day. I've got some fun stuff to show you tonight. I was on a retreat this weekend. Actually, we got to check in Wednesday night and then we stayed till Sunday. And I stamped all weekend long using lots of new products. So I want to get started right away and show you some of the fun things. So let me flip my camera around and we will get rockin' and rollin'. All righty here. Hey, Miss Maria, I'm so glad you could pop in tonight. Let me just make sure that you are seeing this the correct way on the screen. Okay, yay, it looks like we are where we are supposed to be. So let's get rolling. So the first thing that I wanted to show you, this is a card. I think I posted this on my Facebook site. This is a card that I've made for my Stampin' Up incentive trip, the swap, and it is using a new stamp set called Hand Penned, and it has matching dies. But I was so excited when I got home today. There's some stuff that I had ordered that hadn't come in yet, and one of the things was this Memories and More cards and envelopes. Let me show you what's so cool about this. So you get, I'm not even sure how many there are. I think there's about 20. All of the cards look like this, and then here's the front of the envelope, and here's the back. It actually goes with this particular pattern of paper in the pack. But even if you wanted to use another one of the patterns, you wouldn't have to change this. But let's say you wanted to. You could easily get out your piece of paper, trace around it here, and then you would have this pattern instead of this one. You could also use the reverse side. That is one of the things that is so cool about these Memory and More cards. But let me show you. This, I think, would make a fabulous gift for someone. So I took one of the cards and then I just cut my designer series paper. It's about 6 inches long and about 3 inches wide. I got out some of my fresh freesia ribbon. I left it on the spool because I just wanted to show you. I would tie this around, and then there's a great stamp set and matching die called Many Messages. And basically, this is one huge stamp, okay? So what you can do is ink this up in black, gray, or a color. Then you stamp it on white, vanilla, or a color. Then you take this die here, and it fits. I'm going to show you. It fits right over these images just perfectly. Now, it's not going to fit perfectly on this because I haven't stamped it, but let's do this one. So can you see here? how that fits perfectly. Then you have all of these different greetings that you could use. So my idea is, let's move this out of the way. So I have some, I just stamped on white paper with gray ink. Then I took my double label punch and I would just mount this on here, and then I would put it right on this card. How simple is that? You could do this greeting if you wanted. Let me pick it up right here. You could move it over here. You could put it up here, move down your ribbon. Then this is the other oval on there. You could mount this one. You could also take this larger oval, put the color behind it, so it's just peeking out a little bit. Wouldn't that be fun? So that is something, and that is actually on page 127 here in the new catalog. If you don't have your new catalog from me already, or if you don't have a demonstrator, I'd love to send you one. You can email me at ann@stampmaven.com and we can take care of that. But it's these hand-penned Memories and More cards. $10 and you get 20 scored cards and envelopes. So you could make like 4 little kits for your friends and put 5 thinking of you or other cards in there. Now, here's something else that just came today. And this is the 2021-23 in color designer series paper. So it's got all of the new colors: the evening evergreen, soft succulent, pale papaya, polished pink, and my favorite, fresh freesia. And these would also go with those Memories and More cards. Now look at this. I just think this is so fabulous. This is Glimmer Vellum paper in the in colors. So let's look here. I think hopefully you can see how it's kind of shimmer glimmery, but on the back side it is just a little bit translucent. So if you had a project and you didn't want to use this glimmer side, you could use the back. You get 2 sheets of each color in the pack, and they're 12 by 12. And when I use paper like this, I think little is good. There's no reason to use a full sheet of it. Maybe if you're making an invitation or something and you want to cover the whole part of the card, but use this sparingly and it'll last an awfully long time. Okay, now let me show you some other cards that I did this weekend. Here is a card that I used using the new color. Let me pull it out here just because I think you might like to see it. It's a new bundle, and it's called Color and Contour, and it's got scalloped contoured dies. Hey there, Chris Jones. So I used this image right here. Then I actually cut it out. I just stamped it on a scrap paper. I cut it out, and then I colored it with my blends. But look here. This one, let me grab the right one. This is a scallop die, and what I did is I folded this piece of paper and then I die cut it off the paper so the fold would still be there. If you cut it like this on the whole piece of paper, you would have a big scallop piece, which, hey, that would be fine. But I love this concept because you've got like a little note card on top of this piece of evening evergreen. So you can get 4 cards out of one sheet of the 8.5 by 11 evening evergreen. And then, with any color for that matter. And then I just used this little stamp right here and then the greeting on there, and I matched the evening evergreen on that. And I just think that is so cool. And then you just pop it in an envelope and easy peasy, again, you're done. So this die has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different scallops. Now on this card, look at this card here. I also use the hand-penned stamp set, and then I die cut it, colored it with my blends, and I used some of my Wink of Stella. It's a little hard to see. The coordinating soft succulent ribbon. And if you notice right here, these are 2 different size scallops. I had cut out the small one first, and I didn't like it. I thought it was too small. So then I thought, well, hey, why don't I cut out another one? And yes, that was exactly what I wanted. Used a small piece of the DSP, and then I used the die in the hand penned to make this little scallop, and it also has what looks like sewing right here. So I just thought that was pretty cool. Okay, so now let me show you some more samples with that. I think this is my favorite one. Again, very similar to this one. As a matter of fact, it's the exact same card. I just had my focal point facing to the right on this one and to the left. I used the soft succulent cardstock here and the fresh freesia here. And actually, I used mint macaron for this right here. And then I used the freesia ribbon. I put a little tiny pearl in that. What do you think of those, guys? Do you like them? Let me just pop this up here so I can see your comments. Thanks, Chris. I really appreciate that. Now, the reason I started making these cards at the retreat, my online class in May is going to be called Get Out That Designer Series Paper and Use It. How many of you have packages and packages of Designer Series paper, aka DSP, that you either hoard or you collect, and then you think, I don't want to cut this up? Well, in my class, I'm going to show you different ways to do it. I'm going to show you some of the samples here that I'm going to be teaching. This is that hand penned, and it's squares. And in the class, you'll get a PDF with the measurements. Now, what's really kind of fun is you could easily take one of these memory cards and you could use the card and then change the measurements a little bit for this part and then put that card right on here. Wouldn't that be gorgeous? This is another suite that is in the new catalog, and it is called The Beauty of Friendship. And I'm going to show you how to use just pieces of your Designer Series paper. This is another one. It's the Designer Series paper is in the same pack as this one, but this time I used 3 panels. This card here is one of my favorites. Hey, Diana Knapp from Kinston, North Carolina. This is tiny strips that I've made from the paper pack that is actually a host offering in this catalog. And it is this paper right here. I'm so excited that Stampin' Up! Offered something other than stamp sets. This is called Pattern Party. It's 12 by 12. You get 48 sheets, 4 of each, and it only costs you $18 in free goodies. So if you do a $150 order or yourself or you gather friends together, you can choose this as one of your freebies. And I think this card is just awesome. And I'm going to teach you how to do that in my class. It's not that hard. All right, let's move on to some more cards. What do you think of this, guys? This is using Old Olive and Misty Moonlight. Misty Moonlight was one of our in colors last year, and I wanted to just have a touch of the Designer Series paper. So what I did was I used a smaller scallop in the middle here of this DSP, and then I used what I cut out on this card right here. These are our square doilies, and then of course these are just our basic pearls. But look how different these cards look, but they use pretty much the same supplies. And this, it's probably hard to see, I used just a little piece of our white crinkled ribbon and I frayed it on the edges. I like to do that a lot. Here is another one that I made. And I'm going to show this in my class too. Can you see how I just use little strips of the Designer Series paper? This blue is actually the back side of this right here. And I just used, this is the Tasteful Labels die. I use this so much. Both of these are from that. And this is the Evening Evergreen paper, and it's just so fun. Okay, now here's another one I'm going to show you how to do in the class. This uses the new tailored tag dies. And you might be thinking, oh my gosh, I've got so many dies, I don't know if I can afford another one. Well, one way you could afford it is to check into becoming a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator like I am, because we're going to have a special coming up next month where you'll be able to get some extra products in your kit. You might want to think about that. But I did another card. It's the exact same measurements, exact same colors, but instead of cutting it out with a die, I just cut the same piece of DSP, and then I made some little bows on the top, used the same greeting, and voila, that's what you have. Now here's another one here. Sometimes you can just cut up your Designer Series paper and use a 1/4 sheet of it, and that is your focal point, and then just add some twine, and again how I showed you to use that messages die. Well, these cards look a little bit different, don't they? This black and white is the back side of this. Every back side in that 48 piece pack that I told you about has black and white paper. So you can just have so many possibilities with that. I did choose to mount my DSP on black here and on white here, but you don't have to do that at all. You could just have it take up the whole card. I just sometimes like to finish it a little bit. Here is one more that also uses a whole sheet of the Designer Series paper, and this is that Beauty of the Earth paper. And I don't know, guys, I just think this is stunning. I used, again, the Misty Moonlight. I like to put a piece of white inside to write on. Then I backed my Designer Series paper with the Mary Merlot, and then I cut out a scallop, and then I stamped Friendships Refresh the Soul. That is one of, let me grab that stamp set. This is the Beauty of Friendship. The paper is called Beauty of the Earth. And this is Friendships Refresh the Soul. You truly inspire me. I believe in you. Thinking of you. We always need a thinking of you. And hello. I just love to put hello on my cards, and then I can stamp something else on the inside. Here's another new one called Inspired Thoughts. It's got several sympathy type greetings, and then it's got a couple Christmas ones, another hello. This would be kind of a get well, thank you, congratulations. There are just so many fun things in the new catalog to come. Well, that is what I wanted to show you guys tonight. I've taken about 20 minutes of your time. If you do think, hey, I'd like to find out a little more about becoming a demonstrator, you can check out my Stampin' Up site and see what that's all about. You can Facebook me, you can send me an email. The items in our annual catalog, the new one, will be available starting on May 4th. And there's just so much cool stuff in there. You're just not going to believe it. If you don't subscribe to my newsletter, I'd love for you to check it out at stampmaven.com. Once a week, I put out a newsletter at the beginning of the month. It's a big one. And in May, I'm going to be having all the details about my BOGO. Yes, I get to have it again because COVID is waning. We've gotten vaccinated. Of course, we'll still do it in a safe way and have masks. And I'm also going to do my mystery boxes again once BOGO is done. So that is what I wanted to share with y'all tonight. Thanks again for popping in. I will post the recording here and on my YouTube site. So if anybody missed it that you think might enjoy it, just tell them to come back and watch the recording. And I hope that maybe I'll see a lot of you next Monday. And don't forget, the end of May, I've got that great online class coming up. And of course, I'll put more on Facebook about it and in my newsletter. So y'all have a great, great evening, and I'll talk to you soon.